Okay. Sorry. Sorry for the delay here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the access align box, bounding box. This is such a great class. I love this class. Truly, I love this class, and I love the way that this guy implemented it, or the API behind it. It's just really clean. Although one thing I think that I want that we may add a so you can set them in and max, and that's really not that big a deal, which we'll probably do. But I think what I want, I don't think you can. Oh, here's an oriented box. What does that mean? Oh, never mind. Oriented just sounds like it could be a character, maybe. Let's do this. So let me go into this util. Let's go into our math extensions. I guess that's what we're going to call this. And we'll I think we just wanted to be a void, and let's just do update center. I think is what we want, and we'll do a this and an access align bounding box. Call it this, and then we want the center to be a vector 3. Now, I think that the proper way to do this, though, is to we want our dimensions so I wonder how so we got a radius, so let's do that actually. Or do we really want No, this is what we want. We want to update our center, and we want to update our center to so we have the radius. So God, why the radius is expensive, and I don't want to really use it because it's trying to calculate this stuff. But I kind of feel like I might have to use it. Let's just try here. If I get the existing center, I just want to move the bounds. So really what I could do is I could find the existing center. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. So let's take this dot center, and I guess we want to take the the delta. So if I'm at 33 and it's at 1, 1, so basically we want to take this new center, or we'll just call it offset. This is easy, and I was making this way harder than it should be. So we want to make our offset the new center minus the current center. And then we simply want to apply min and max. So current min equals this at min, and var current max equals this dot max. And then what we want to do is we'll just do this set extents, and we'll set it to the minimum current min. I think we'll just do minus. Yeah. So we'll just offset this by that amount, by the same amount, because we want the center to slide with the, we want the boundaries to slide with the center. So if we have the min and max, we'll just slide those with the same offset. Moves the entire thing. So current max minus offset. I'm thinking that should re-center our bounds. And that's all we want. Done. Easy. Easy. All right, now here's where it gets maybe a little bit tricky. Is we have to take our player position and we have to infer see, this sucks, because what I really want is something to tell me the chunks, which means the chunks have to exist. But what I'm getting caught up with is the fact that the chunks don't exist yet. So we're basically trying to come up with, I mean, they can exist and they eventually will exist, but when we're first determining whether or not we should load or remove a chunk, we're using this structure. And that's what's tricky, is that I need to know about the existence of chunks around me, or what chunks might need to exist around me. Hold on one second. Which becomes a little tricky, but at the same time, what we can do is, I guess we can start on the chunk that we know that our player is on, because that one we know has to be loaded. And then we can radiate outwards until we're no longer in the bounds. And so, like, let's talk about maybe what it means to radiate outwards. And let's make like a new. Let's just make a text file. So if we're looking at a top-down view, let's just assume this is our chunk that our player is on. No, that's not a very good chunk. If we assume that this is, we'll just say this is positive x. And negative x. And we'll also need to do z as well, but so this is negative y. Actually, let's call this negative z. We'll talk about the y in just a little bit. Where's my little caret? There. And this is positive z. One second. So when we radiate outward, so let's talk about this. So we would need to we need to move x1, and then we basically need kind of these direction monitors that spread out. So it's really best if we come up with a point out here that encapsulates how far we want to move outward. However, this is where things like this is the problem with all of this, is that we can do all of this with these bounding boxes, which I want to do, except for there's going to be a point where it's expensive to radiate outwards, I guess, but maybe not. Basically, we would just, for all x, I don't know, it feels expensive. Why does it feel more expensive to radiate outwards along all axis? What's up? Long time no see, man. How you been? So maybe the better thing to do here. Maybe the better thing to do here is start at our maximum visible. But we got to figure out what chunk that is relative to our player. And I think that's fine. We can do that. And then we're just going to iterate through all of them. And we're actually not even going to have to require a bounding box, I don't think. So let's not do the radiation or the radiating. It's not even the proper term here. So, all right. So we'll come back to this because this is important, but what we're interested in is our player position. We basically need to let me see if this is going to give me what I expect. So like if I have a position, if I have like a vector 3v, what's new vector 3, and I'm at like 30,032 or 30,014, and let's say I'm at 24 and maybe 10,223, 232, something like that, or 236 or something. Let's just make them floats just to make it interesting. So if I x equals, if I mod these, what does this give me? What shows you watching, man? Anything worth picking it up? I don't watch many shows. I kind of got burned out on TV. $6.5. Is that giving me? It's not, the mod is not the same thing as remainder, although it's very similar. I think what I want is an int division, and not a. Where's my calculator button? Oh, that is sad. So I don't have I'm used to having a calculator button on my keyboard, and I don't have it anymore. Nice. Yeah, Blacklist I've heard is pretty good. I know a lot of people who like that. So what was my number? 3014 divided by 32? Yeah, it's 94. So that's giving me a remainder. So what I think that I want is I want an int. I want an int, and then I want to divide it by 32. And I think this gives me an int result. Yeah, it does. Good. That's what I want. I wanted to do integer division. I love this. Okay, sorry for the delay. This is what I want. This is what I want right here. And what I want to do is I want to take this position here, and we'll just call this. We'll call this chunk X, chunk Y, chunk Z. Right. We'll change that to position. And we'll change this to chunk.width, chunk.height, chunk.depth. This is going to give us our it's going to give us our local chunk coordinates. Dude, it's good. Listen, let me tell you something. You need the break, man. A lot of times if you're feeling scatterbrained and your interests are lying somewhere else, if you try to force yourself to program, it'll just end bad. I mean, it's the same thing for a lot of things. I'm insanely stubborn, so I would never judge anybody for doing that because I do it all the time. Where I know what I should be doing and I'll force myself to try to do something, and it ends up bad because I'd rather be doing other things. Like if you're just not in it, you gotta take a break, come back. I think my biggest fear always though when I do that is that my interest won't be there when I come back, and that like I have the interest now, it's just not coming together. And I have this fear that I'm going to leave something, and not have the interest to do it when I get back. And I guess sometimes that happens. Drives me nuts. All right, so when we update our player position, we get a chunk position, right? This is a local chunk position as it is in the world. So this local chunk position, we need to kind of put it in relative coordinates to our view. So this is actually really tricky too. What is our radius divided by 2? So essentially our min visible, max visible, x, y, and z. Let's do one more little test here, math test. One more little small math test, and I'll just do I'm going to keep this for scratches. And we'll just do that, and I'll do console.readline. And that way, if I decide to do some more tests in here, I can do it without feeling like so we'll call this min, and we'll call this max, and this needs to be min, and we'll just set our radius. What is our, did I set that, is that an int? I think it is. Yeah. So let's just set our we'll use the same name. Radius is 8. So if I write this out, we'll do min, oops, max, oops, not what I wanted. What's up, Bo? Yeah, man. I was good. I'm good. I just had to bail really fast. I had to do something really fast that I forgot to do. And yeah, it came right back. So what if I take these values? Can I just do that? I can't. I don't think I can do that. So what if we now set our min diex, so we'll just say divide equals by 3. See, I think that's not gonna give me a rounded value. I need to do like something like this. I need to do min.x is equal to int min.x divided by chunk.width. Because this is what why is this angry? Okay, it's not a possible loss of a fraction. I want it to be a loss of a fraction. It's intentional. I guess I could do a floor and it would be the same thing, right? Min.z equals int min.z chunk depth. So this should give me, and I really just need to do the same thing with max. This is basically going to give me, we'll create helpers for this if it's necessary. But this is basically going to give me what I think is chunk width. This is our chunk radius and chunk max. So basically plus or minus that amount is like our thing. So let's come back into here. I think ultimately this is silly. This is silly. So this is our position. We're good there. This is our position. I think it's really this easy. We need to go from our position, we need to subtract we just need to subtract the radius. Right? Maybe plus 1 here. So let's do that. So max visible, we'll call it max radius, and it's going to be radius plus 1 because we're just adding a chunk right now. And from here, I think we just go local. We're just going to go from local chunk coordinates to like our view coordinates. And I think this is where it might get a little tricky, but we'll try something really fast. I have to go in like 5 minutes, so it's not surprising that I still haven't accomplished anything in this. I keep running into real life matters, and so this probably will be also my last programming stream for. I might do another one tomorrow, to see how far I get. But I'm gonna be out of town for a while, through the weekend, and then I'll be back next week, latter half of next week, Wednesday through Friday, and then I'll be gone for I think an entire week. And then I'll be back. So our max radius, what all this really represents here is we want to start our chunk X Okay. So our we're just going to just find a bunch of this stuff. We'll just say our starting x is going to be our chunk x minus max radius. Start y equals chunk x, or chunk y minus max radius. Start z is chunk z. So that's going to be our starting point. And our ending point is going to be easy enough. Chunk x plus max radius. ny equals chunk x plus. I'm trying to keep, the reason why I'm using separate variables here instead of a vector 3 is because I want to keep the int. I don't want it to go to a float or whatever. Promote to a double or whatever the shit it's doing. All right. Now, I think the tricky part here, though, is mapping it to our view dimensions. But I honestly think that that's as easy as I think that that is as easy as just simply I think just checking to see if it's in bounds. Wait, what could this possibly be? If this could this be out of bounds? No. There are no bounds to the world. I mean, I guess max int. So all we need to do is just shift this into our view space, which our view space is just 0. Why is it the radius, though? This is what's bothering me, is that our view dimensions, this isn't right to me. That's not right. This isn't right. I feel like this should all be diameter. Huh. Maybe not, though. I feel like maybe diameter isn't enough. I'm just going to add that here too as well. So this is all right. That's a little confusing. The chunk width, chunk height, chunk depth. Well, let's change this to view width. View height. And view depth. It's a little bit easier to follow here. This is weird to me. I don't know why I'm using this. Min visible, because chunk width time radius divided by 2. Does that even make sense? It doesn't make sense. Oh. That's on either side of me. Okay, never mind. That does make sense because that's defining the amount of space offset from center. And max is defining offset from center plus 1. So that's basically what all this is just these two things. So I'll return to this. We can use that in a bit. I just want to break it all down first, and then we can compact it later. So okay, I like this. So these are the lines we had. So if the chunk is null, why do we continue there? I kind of feel like if the chunk is null, we should load it. I'm going to remove that because that doesn't make sense. What we do want to know is okay. You know what? I'm thinking about this right now, and I'm not going anywhere with it, and I'm getting pinged from work, so I'm gonna run. I gotta jump on a call real fast. Maybe I'll have a chance to continue this tonight. If not, then we'll start something tomorrow morning. But I have notes here of where I want to go with this, so you know, we have direction. I'm limited with my time today, so sorry about that. Anyway, but I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.